Now, we can't talk about the pros without mentioning the cons, and there are some disadvantages.
Let's hear pros and cons.
First thing I want to talk about is the hot and humid summers. Summers can get pretty intense with a high humidity and temperatures over 90 degrees. The summers here are sometimes unbearable. Once it gets over 90, man, it's just like, man, you don't want to go outside. You don't want to get out, go to the park, or go out and go. You don't even want to go grocery shopping. You don't want to get out and do anything. You don't want to go see family. It's just so freaking hot and humid. As soon as you step outside, you're sweating. And it's something that I've grown to like have a love-hate relationship with. But I'm the type of person, I don't like being cold. So I get through the summers just by, going swimming or just staying inside, If I'm going somewhere, it's not gonna be for a long time, or I'm gonna be prepared when I go. So if I'm going somewhere, I'm gonna make sure I have my water, I'm gonna make sure I have my cold towel, I'm gonna make sure I know where I'm going. I'm not just gonna get out for anything during the summertime. I know where I'm going. So that's one of the things I would recommend. Just be prepared in the summertime. Make sure your AC service is serviced, like I said. Make sure that you have everything you need as far as sunscreen when you go out. If you're gonna be outside, make sure you have your sunscreen, your water. Make sure you have a mister, maybe like a bottle, mister bottle may be good. Just something that'll keep you hydrated, and cool, because it does get humid. I know a lot of places, a lot of other places can get over 100, and we get over 100 sometimes too, but 90 for us is our 100-degree weather. If you're moving here from somewhere like California, New York, you're gonna love it because it's not as hot, but it's also not as dry. So just keep that in mind if you're planning on relocating to the Rock. So another thing is our public transportation, which I would call a disadvantage because the transit here leaves a bit to be desired. Most folks rely on cars to get around. So if you're moving here, just go ahead and get familiar with your GPS and your car's AC. Another con is that the winters are mild, but you might still experience a random snow or ice storm, and that throws everything into chaos. Now, you think we've never seen snow before, the way people panic. I find it kind of hilarious, but it's also slightly concerning because, we've had snows and we've had times where things shut down, and it's concerning because we're never prepared.
And that doesn't make sense.
You would think like over the years we'd be more prepared, and we're getting a lot better at it, but things just shut down. We don't put the salt down like we should. We don't have the trucks ready like we should. We wait until after something happens. As far as the snow and ice, we wait till after it happens to go out and service the roads, which in my opinion, I think is backwards because we should be servicing the roads before. We know that it's gonna snow. We know there's a high chance, but we don't get out and we don't take those preventative measures before, which is, I just wish we should, because it affects everyone. So if you don't have four-wheel drive, you're just stuck. And then also we have a lot of hills here. So if your house is on a hill, you don't have four-wheel drive, you can't get out and do anything. And then also, people go and stock up on food, so you might not find bread and milk, things like that in the grocery stores. And so I just think it's slightly concerning that we're never prepared for ice and snow. And then every 8 to 10 years we have a really big snow. I just think it's just so funny that we don't prepare for that. That's a con that I think is a part of living in Little Rock, and it's something that you should consider when moving here. Next thing we'll talk about are crime rates in certain areas. Now, crime rates, I'm not gonna get into any numbers or anything because that's not my game. To me, there's crime everywhere. If you can't prevent it, you can't predict it. So, just like any city, Little Rock has areas where there's higher crime rate. The essential thing to know is where you're buying your house or where you're planning on moving to Little Rock. Don't worry, that's why you got me. I'm here to find the safe hidden gems in the city for you. So, as far as crime goes, that's something that you'd have to go and research. I can guide you to where to look, but I won't guide you on where not to look. I'm not gonna say don't live here or don't move there. I'm just saying, you know, I think this is a good place. I think this is a good place for you. Or I think this is a better place for you. I'm just not gonna tell you not to move anywhere because ultimately that's your choice where you live. On one thing, some people are okay with, you know, crime. You know, they're not scared of crime. Some people much rather live in a place where, you know, it's more economical for them. And some people may live in a place where they want low crime. Now, I've had people talk to me about living here in Little Rock and moving somewhere, and I tell them, hey, you know, I want you to take a look at this place and then research it because, you know, I want you to look at the crime and everything and consider that when moving there. I'm not telling them no, but I'm telling them to do their research. Well, they don't care. They don't care about the place. They're looking at it economically. They don't want to pay like high rent or high mortgage for the house that they're purchasing. And so, you know, that's one thing that is personal preference as far as where you live. I'm here to guide you to that forever home, or that perfect home for you. All right, let's talk about mosquitoes. Mosquitoes here, they can get unbearable. They get in your house, they're outside, they're everywhere during the warmer months. You'll be swatting away mosquitoes like it's a sport. So bring bug spray, lots of bug spray, and just thank me later. Another con is the lack of sports teams. Now, many of you know it's Arkansas, so we have our Razorbacks that are in Northwest Arkansas. And I'm telling you, that team is like a religion to us. That is our pro sports team.
I'm serious. I'm gonna play for the Arkansas Razorbacks.
We don't have like a national sports team like in the NFL, MLB, or the NBA. We don't. We have minor league teams, which we also highly root for, like the Arkansas Travelers, which is a minor league team in the MLB. A lot of people go to Travelers games. We have a great stadium here for the Arkansas Travelers, and a ton of people go. It's a huge attraction for us. But we don't have a major sports team. Now, we are very close to cities with a major sports team. So most of our people here who root for a major sports team, in the NFL, we go to Dallas Cowboys. If you want to drive 5 hours to watch the Titans, the Oklahoma City Thunder. If you're into NBA, if you like the Grizzlies, Memphis Grizzlies. I'm a huge Memphis Grizzlies fan. And then also Dallas Mavericks. Like I said, Dallas has some sports teams that everyone is big on. Dallas Mavericks. Like I said, Little Rock, Arkansas in general, no major sports team. Moving on, let's talk about tornado season. If you've been watching the news, you know that Little Rock is in Tornado Alley, and last year we had a big tornado go through the city. I mean, smack dab through the city. It was very close to my house. Thank God we were safe and didn't hit us. But it did tear through the city, caused a lot of damage. So that's one thing that you want to consider when moving here. There are tornadoes that happen. Most of the time it's in rural areas, but every once in a while it's gonna threaten Little Rock. It just so happens last year, just that very thing came through Little Rock. We live in Tornado Alley. So if you hear sirens, don't worry. It's either a tornado warning or they're just testing the signal. We also have severe thunderstorms here, okay? But there's no threat of a tornado. Let's talk about allergy season. Now, allergies here are severely brutal in the spring and fall due to all the pollen. Now, surprise, you might end up with a new best friend and it's called Claritin. Here, you're probably gonna see pollen caked on everywhere. Cars, trees, roads, everywhere. Buildings, windows. In the springtime, pollen is just crazy. The amount of pollen that comes through here in the springtime, and this doesn't affect me or anything because I don't get a lot of allergies, but if you have kids, you may want to break out the Benadryl early because the pollen here it just gets crazy. We have a ton of trees here. There's a ton of trees, there's a ton of gardens, flowers. I mean, they're everywhere. The bees come out, all the bugs come out. They're transferring that pollen everywhere, and then it's just falling off the trees. So here, you want to maybe consider stocking up, basically. Just stock up on allergy medicine because the pollen here gets a bit crazy. But that's the last thing, that's my last con. Hope you enjoyed this video. It was a pleasure, again, updating you on the pros and cons of Little Rock. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. My information, again, is going to be in the description below. Thanks for watching. Peace.